Susan Lyne knows a lot about reinvention as Chief Executive Officer at AOL Brand Group. She is helping the Internet pioneer reinvent itself as a media company. She's held leadership positions everywhere from Martha Stewart Living to Disney. We're pleased to have her here. Welcome again.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
What do you do to reinvent a brand?
I don't think a brand is ever completely reinvented. I think that sometimes you give new shape to it, but for a company like AOL, it's a very strong brand. It's known to most people around the world. It was the company that introduced all of us to the Internet. So
your challenge is what? So
the challenge is how do we get the company growing again at a significant pace, and that's what Tim Armstrong has been able to do over the last couple of years, is to really reignite growth in an old brand.
When I think of AOL, I think of our old dial-up email accounts, the beginning email accounts, but there's much more that AOL is doing now.
It really is now the brand company. So it's home to a lot of beloved brands, the Huffington Post, MapQuest, Moviefone, Stylist, TechCrunch, a couple dozen brands. And it's become a real video behemoth. It's #1 in video ad serving, #2 only to YouTube in video views. So lots of really interesting work in that area, too. In fact, this week, we launched a new series with Sarah Jessica Parker about the New York City Ballet Company.
And Sarah Jessica has a new line of shoes coming out. But let's talk about you, Susan Lyne.
Enough about AOL. Let's talk about you.
Let's talk about you, Susan Lyne, because you seem to be someone who's reinvented yourself. You've talked very candidly about when you were let go from ABC. That was sort of a body blow for yourself. You had to absorb it, process it, and do what? Take us through that for you.
Yeah, sure. I had been at the company for about 10 years, but
you launched Desperate Housewives, you launched Lost, some of the biggest shows in history.
Those actually launched after I was let go, so that was
you green-lighted them.
Yes, I did. You green-lighted them.
But like many people who get into that job as the head of entertainment for a network, it's not the most secure position, and I knew that going in, but still I was completely stunned when I was let go. And I did have to take, days to process this, but at a certain point I thought, okay, what does this mean I can do?
Well, what's the lesson there for people? When you're in a high-profile job and you get let go and you got to move on.
I think you have to think about what the opportunity is. And for me, it was that I had always gone from job to job because I was offered a job. I had never had a chance to step back and say, what do I want to do now?
But at the time when you're going through it, you're not thinking that. But this is the thing about reinventing yourself. You go into a place where you walk into the room where everybody could maybe be your child.
Yes.
And I've seen your office. You had a really great office.
At Martha Stewart, I did.
You had one of the nice ones. And then you're sitting at like a cubicle workstation.
Exactly. No, I went to a startup called Gilt Group, and it was, there were at the time about 50 people, and it's true, they could all have been my children. And I was at a workstation again and thought, I will never make a call again. I've got people here and here.
But you liked it.
I loved it.
You liked it.
I loved it. No, it was really exciting. And I think that's really the message, is that you just have to be willing to embrace change. And whether that's change in the world around us or change in your situation.
Let me tell you about this person who's a great friend of mine. She was married to a great man named George Cryle, and they had two daughters and two stepdaughters. And two stepdaughters, and she had not only to raise her family, but also to do all these jobs.
And your husband was a 60 Minutes producer.
Yes, he was. Right. So I'm coming home this morning. It's fun to see everybody
home
here.
Is happy for you.
And you say his death from pancreatic cancer years ago really taught you to be present. What do you mean?
Yeah, I was somebody who was always multitasking. Always doing six different things at once, and I think that the 6 months when he was very sick, the one thing he asked from all of us is, just be here. That's all. And it was a remarkable last gift, I think, to all of my daughters, too. It's a really interesting thing. It changed them in very positive ways. I mean, they do focus on the person who is in front of them. And that's that was new for me from that harried life of work and children, and so.
And now you're focusing on AOL. Can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you.
Congratulations on another chapter for you, Susan Lyne.